Making a fourth film in a series that was only designed to have 3 films is a challenge, especially after you've made a trilogy that closed out a story in a way in which so many people were so satisfied. Luckily, for this fourth film, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the filmmakers chose to set the film 300 years later, and as a sequel that honoured the legacy of the hero of the previous 3 films, Caesar. And having finally seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I can report that this movie actually is good. You know what? It's not just good. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was almost, and maybe, just maybe, could it still be great? Let me explain. Hi, I'm the Grinning Critic, and I love talking about movies with a grin. But as I am the Grinning Critic, I should talk about the aspects of the movie that actually are great. This movie is a visual treat. The backgrounds of the Australian bush used to shoot this film are a charm to witness. The detail put into every frame is immense. The production designers have done so much excellent work in this movie. And the cinematography is just fantastic. And the design of the apes, well, that's otherworldly. The level of sophistication that the filmmakers have gone to make these apes photorealistic is insane. I cannot comprehend how they look that good. Genuinely. The textures, the lighting on them, the way they move, the way they blend seamlessly into the background, I genuinely struggle to understand how a computer is able of making something this good. The performance capture of the actors playing these apes is also incredible, and their performances are outstanding. Now, I'll talk about one thing that many people are nervous of. Many people were really nervous about Wes Ball taking over this franchise, as they didn't love his work on the Maze Runner films. I'm yet to see those, so I can't comment, but Wes Ball, boy did he knock it out of the park in his directing here. He was able to craft suspense so successfully in this story through his immaculate directing. Now this movie has a fairly straightforward story, but it's one of the most thoughtful blockbusters that I've seen in quite some time. It explores really interesting themes of how a hero's teachings have been interpreted, how they are used with and against others. It explores loyalty, prejudice, and teamwork really well, and it's also able to tackle social commentary on the relationships of apes and humans, while also making allusions to Julius Caesar and referencing the Roman Empire. Now let's talk about the things that really stop this movie from being great. The movie has a lot of issues regarding pacing, and is frankly way too long. This movie clocks in at 2 hours and 25 minutes, and this easily could have been 40 minutes shorter and far more effective. Another annoyance that I have with this movie is the movie's villain, Proximus. Proximus was a severely underdeveloped villain. He doesn't get anywhere near the screen time required to be as compelling as he should be. Now I feel as though I can't really conclude upon my feelings regarding this movie, and that's because of how this movie is designed. This movie is designed to be the first film in a trilogy. So there are things in this movie that don't quite make sense, but they may make sense when we have an entire trilogy. So I can't really criticize these, but I can't really praise them either, because we don't know how the story is going to pan out. But I'll say this stuff anyway, nonetheless. The character of May makes some really interesting choices near the end of the movie that just don't make sense in the movie really at all. And her backstory really doesn't get provided, which could and most definitely should be explored in the next film. Otherwise, a lot of stuff isn't going to make sense, and she's going to be a really underdeveloped character. There are things that the character Raka sets up that I think are really interesting ideas, that I think will get explored later on in the trilogy, but if they don't, they just won't make any sense at all. Look, I'm worried that this film will suffer what The Force Awakens suffered, where that movie set up so much, yet the trilogy didn't do anything to pay it off. I mentioned in the start of my review that this film could still be great. And why am I saying this when the movie's already been out and I've seen it and I clearly have an opinion on it? I think that this film would be a drastically better film and may just become great if the second film is able to tackle all the stuff I've just described that I want to see this trilogy do. If the second film doesn't and the third film doesn't, then this film is going to get worse. What I'm hoping for this film is for it to be like the first Dune movie, where the first film was good but had many elements that were unresolved, but the second film, a far superior film in my opinion, resolved these elements, thus making the first film better. In conclusion, I think that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, as it stands right now, is good. But that could all change when the second film comes out, which just might make it great. I'm gonna give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a B+. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm the Grinning Critic, and don't forget to subscribe to me.